Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, and welcome to Command Power, the show in which we discuss all things Magic the Gathering with a focus on Commander. And today we have another episode in our Spoiler Spotlight series in which I talk about, well, spoilers and tell you what my thoughts are on them. But before that, just a quick reminder to click subscribe if you enjoy my videos. We're well on our way to 1 million subscribers and your support means everything to me. And today we're going to be talking about the card Final Act for 4 colorless and 2 black. It's a sorcery with choose one or more. Destroy all creatures, destroy all planeswalkers, destroy all battles, exile all graveyards, and each opponent loses all counters. So this is a really splashy spoiler from Modern Horizons 3, and I think it's a very interesting card to look at for a couple of reasons. Obviously, it's very similar to Farewell, which we all know and love, or possibly hate, as one of the best board wipes in Commander, but there are quite a few subtle differences between this and Farewell. It has one mode in common with Farewell, which is exile all graveyards, but all the other modes are different. So to start off, destroy all creatures is obviously less good than exile all creatures, which is what Farewell does. Destroy all planeswalkers and destroy all battles are substituted for destroy all artifacts and destroy all enchantments in Farewell, which is definitely miles above because there aren't that many planeswalkers played in Commander, and battles are not that common these days either, although we might see some in this new set, who knows. Finally, the most interesting mode, and the one that actually merits talking about most in this card, is each opponent loses all counters. For starters, I find it a little bit jarring that this one is worded differently, and it doesn't say each player loses all counters. The fact that it's not symmetrical doesn't really sit right with me because all the other modes on Farewell and on this are symmetrical. That being said, this is a really powerful effect that we really haven't seen very often in Magic's history, and I'm kind of a little bit conflicted about it. On the one hand, I think it's great that this gives us a nice answer to something like poison counters, because those can often be pretty oppressive in the right situation, or if you're up against a deck that is just planning on proliferating, they can just kind of win without really having to engage through combat very much at all. On the other hand though, the fact that you can remove stuff like energy counters or experience counters, which for the most part are very fair mechanics, seems a little bit mean. The vast majority of experience counter decks out there are extremely fair, and they spend the whole game gradually building up their experience count so that they can do bigger and bigger things towards the end of the game, and suddenly resetting those decks back to 0 does feel pretty bad. I guess it will depend on how often this card is played, because I don't think it is anywhere near as good as Farewell, to be honest. The fact that you can destroy all creatures and then exile all graveyards does actually mean that the first ability is quite similar to Farewell's exile all creatures, although of course you won't be able to hit anything that is indestructible or that regenerates, but outside of that, I don't know if that final ability really merits this seeing play over Farewell. I suppose that if you're in a color combination that doesn't include white, and you feel like you've used all of the other wraths that you need to use, then this could be pretty decent as a final wrath, but 6 mana is a lot, particularly considering that black has access to stuff like Toxic Deluge or Damnation, which are just so much cheaper and basically do the same thing. Graveyard Hate is always welcome and relevant, of course, so that might push this to be a little bit better than it would otherwise be, but the problem I think with this one is that there's often just going to be too many dead modes. In most games, battles, planeswalkers, and opponents' counters are just not going to be relevant, which means that you're just stuck with a slightly overcosted wrath that also exiles. That might be good enough at 6 mana, it's not really that bad, but you know, it's not the most ideal situation. The other thing that I think can be a bit of a downside here is that the exiling graveyards part can often be something you don't want to do if you're playing a black deck. Of course, it's modal, so you actually just get to choose whether you do it or not, which is nice, but that being said, it's a bit awkward a lot of the time because black does tend to have more graveyard synergies than other colors, so you might often feel a bit conflicted about using that mode, and at that point you've basically just got a 1 mode wrath for 6 mana, which is definitely not good enough. So yeah, not sure how it will play out. I think it's probably not quite as good as it initially might seem, but still could be a powerful card in the right situation. So there you have it. Those have been my thoughts on this new spoiler. What do you think though? Do you disagree with me, or do you think I got it right? Let me know in the comment section below. I always make sure to read all of your comments. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to click like or subscribe. It really helps the channel, and until next time, take care.